Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Dallas Stars franchise mode here in NHL 20. So in last episode, we had the draft and the re-sign stage, and at the draft, we decided to pick up Trevor Wong with I think it was the second overall pick in the draft, because we moved up somehow, and we got pretty lucky with that, so we got another really good center prospect for the future. As well, in the re-sign stage, we did let go of a couple of veterans, including Mike McPhee and Pelle Eklund, just to kind of give our team maybe a fresh, younger team to an extent, because Anton Lundell, who we drafted in 2019, or 2020, my bad, is actually going to be in the NHL probably this season, so I decided to let go of some players just to make some room for him. Now, if I sound a little bit tired, it's because I was at the Sens game last night, so just bear with me if my voice sounds a little tired today. It probably doesn't because I'm more awake now, but anyways, let's get to free agency. Like I was saying also at the end of last episode, is we're probably going to be looking for a fourth liner, I was saying, but after a while, I was like, you know what, maybe we could use a top six forward, because I was looking at our team. And this would be our top line here. Actually, not centers. This would be our top line here. Probably is like Gagne, Courtnall, Medano. Second line would be like Broughton, Clatton, Young. And then third line, we'd have a Vason and Craig. But Gilchrist is kind of weak for that third line. Like, he's more of a fourth liner. So I think we might want to bring in a third liner kind of guy that could also play like second line or first line to give us that like tertiary scoring option. So we're going to be trying to sign Greg Adams, who's a free agent, just because Greg Adams actually did play with the Dallas Stars around this point in time, which was kind of cool. I saw him available in the free agents pool, and I'm like, he actually does meet our need. And in real life, he did play with them in 94-95, which technically this season was just 94-95. So he's coming over to us a bit later than he did in real life, but it still is kind of cool if we could actually bring him in. So he's a left winger, and he is right here. Third line scoring forward, 32 years old, so he does have some veteran experience. And he was with the Vancouver Canucks the last two seasons where he played pretty good. As you can see, 66 points in year number 1 and 60 points in year number 2. So I'm expecting him to at least put up maybe 50 points this year, but he probably will be on the decline. So we aren't going to sign him to too long of a contract. Actually, we might sign him to a decent contract. Because, like, technically our bottom six, we don't have anybody that could crack the top six except for Lundell, who's going to be playing in the NHL. So I am going to give him a not a 5-year deal, a 2-year deal at, let's give him $6 million. He should accept that. And then we also need 2 depth players because we don't have enough depth currently. Because I don't want to be playing Wong, who we just drafted as a depth guy. I would rather him go back to the OHL for another year. So we're going to sign 2 depth forwards if we can. These depth forwards are probably going to be insanely weak, though, because it's kind of weird how this works. Wow, tons of fourth liners out there, but no depth forwards. There's some depth forwards. 75. There's an 80 depth forward. Hoagland's an RFA, though. Yeah, I don't want to qualify him, even though there wouldn't be any compensation, probably. Anybody else that's a depth forward, that's actually good. Keith Acton. Yeah, we could bring in Keith Acton. He kind of brings that veteran presence, and he's kind of physical. Yeah, we'll bring in Keith Acton. Why not? He could be a solid depth option for us. And then one more depth forward just in case as well. But these guys are going to be depth forwards for us because I am going to be playing Lundell instead. So there doesn't seem to be any other depth forwards that are like above an 80 or like a 79-80 range. So I guess we're going to have to sign a fourth liner as well. So in that case, who do we want to sign? I don't really want a physical player because we already just, we're probably signing Keith Acton. Louis DeBrusque isn't that bad, but he's an RFA currently. Paul Broughton, our former player, I would rather let him go. I could bring in Scott Pearson. Yeah, you know what? I'll bring in Scott Pearson. He could be a solid option. 1 year at 1.55 as a depth guy. And yeah, I think that's all the signings we're going to make is just those 3 players if they all want to come to Dallas. So let's sim to next season. Well, actually not yet, actually. Let's go 1 month at a time because we are going to take a look at all the free agent signings for this year. And then we will sim a bit of the next season as well. Probably not a whole lot because I would rather like the episode kind of be still around 25 minutes. Hopefully we get some interesting signings this year. So I also forgot to mention I offered an assistant coach a contract. This guy does accept us, which is good because he has a 71% like um, like his scheme fit is like 71% or something like that. So he's going to be a very good fit for this team. So he's our assistant coach now, and so hopefully that helps us out as well in getting into a playoff spot this year. So Keith Acton has signed with us as our depth forward. Scott Pearson has accepted. That's good. And Greg Adams has accepted as well. So some pretty decent signings, I think, for our team. Hopefully that helps out more with the scoring because usually it's our top line that produces a lot, not our second line or our third line. So by getting options that score more, maybe that will help us out a bit. So there has been a trade. So Benoit Hogue in a fourth head to New Jersey for a first and a second, which head to the Islanders. We're going to be checking for trades as well shortly, seeing if there's been any trades in this offseason other than these ones. Here's another trade, a first and Zuzan, who is a prospect of the New York Rangers, I think. Or New York Islanders. Yeah, it's the Islanders making back-to-back trades. They get rid of Uwe Krupp to the Montreal Canadiens with a 5th-round pick for that first and Zuzan. Okay. So let's see what those signings for the first month of free agency. See if anybody huge signed with anybody. Like Solani's a free agent, so hopefully he signed in Finland. Because if he goes to Toronto, I'm not gonna like that. Because like honestly, Solani in a Florida or not a Florida Panthers jersey, a Toronto jersey seems kind of weird. So here's some of the trades that happened. So Karamanov heads to the LA Kings. The rest are just looking like picks and prospects, I think, at this point. Signing wise, let's go to the bottom of this list though. And then we will go back all the way up to the top just because that way we can see the big names probably first because usually they sign earlier on. Okay, so Kirk Muller signs in Czech Republic. Philip Boucher resigns in Buffalo. Gordon Murphy in Sweden. Smolinski resigns in Boston. Jeff Norton signs in San Jose. That's kind of cool because I don't think he started in San Jose in this. And he actually did get to play for the Sharks in like the later 90s. Bobby Holik signs as a free agent with the San Jose Sharks. Interesting. We signed Greg Adams. Curtis Lazishkin signs in Pittsburgh. Any other big names? Timo Solani signs in Washington for 7 years. So Washington now has him and Peter Bondra as right wingers. So they could be very scary in the next couple of seasons. Kevin Stevens signs in Buffalo. Dale Hawerchuk signs in Detroit for 4 years at his age, which is kind of weird. But maybe he'll actually get a chance to win the Cup since Detroit's won back-to-back. Trevor Linden signs in Edmonton. Ed Olchuk signs in Ottawa. Any other big free agents? Hartford signs John Van Beesbrook. Gary Slegger resigns in Vancouver. Curtis Joseph signs for 7 years in Germany. That's kind of cool. Stu Barnes in New York. Ray Ferraro goes to Finland. Ron Tugnut signs in Toronto. So he went from Montreal to Ottawa to Toronto. That's kind of interesting. Jeff Sanderson resigns in Hartford. A lot of interesting signings. Quebec resigns Dundee. Peter Bondra actually signed as a free agent in Edmonton, so never mind about Peter Bondra being in Washington. So I guess that's probably why they brought in Solani as a replacement. And yeah, just a lot of other signings. I won't read them all up because it's going to get too annoying for you guys. But if you guys want to pause the view at any point in time to look at the signings, I mean, you could just go do so. This is just for the first month. There's quite a bit of signings. Tom Barrasso signs in Ottawa. I think he actually played with Ottawa, if I'm not mistaken, for like a really short stint in like early year 2000s. So that's kind of cool. Olaf Kolzig signs in Russia. Damian Rhodes in Boston. Peter Stastny in Germany. Yeah, there was a lot of free agents this year. A lot more than I even realized. Darren McCarty resigns in Detroit for another year. Yeah, there is a ton of signings. Holy crap. So yeah, the NHL is going to look a lot weirder because a lot of these guys are signing in different teams. So Pellet Eklund, our former player, signs in Chicago. So he's going to be playing us quite a bit because that's a divisional rival. Brian Trottier signs in Montreal for 1 year. Wow, there is a lot of signings. Terry Kirkner signs in Florida, which is actually realistic. Holy crap. That's cool because he was in Florida when they went to the Stanley Cup Finals, I think, in 96. And he started in Detroit on this, so he actually went to a team that he was with around the exact same time. So that's really cool when that happens. Malguna signs in Washington. I think he might have actually played in Washington for a bit too, if I'm not mistaken. Ty Domi signs in Philadelphia. It's kind of neat. Damn, a lot of signings. Holy. We're almost near the top, and then probably this next month won't have any signings hardly that are of note, because tons of guys are signing. Nick Kypreos in Buffalo. I'm surprised that actually everybody got signed, all those. So, okay, so that's the first month of free agency. Quite a bit of signings. We'll go another month and see if any other teams pick up any other players that we created or not. I wouldn't expect there to be that much more because there isn't a whole lot of players left. So, who knows? So this episode's already around 12 minutes, so we'll probably be simulating, I'd say, at least to January the 1st in this episode if we can. There's another trade, so first and third head to New York, which is the Islanders again, for Derek King and Stefan Beauregard. I think Beauregard actually was with Chicago before, because I think he was part of that trade that brought Dominik Hasek to Buffalo. So that's kind of interesting. No thank you, don't want to make any trades. I think Todd Krejcier actually also did play in Hartford, and now he's in Hartford, so that's kind of neat. Okay, so let's just take a look and see if there was any more signings or trades that went around in August, and then we'll sim up to the preseason, and I'll show you guys the lines for the season, or actually I'll probably edit them off like camera, just so that way I could kind of speed up the video a bit. So here's some more of the trades in case you guys didn't see. So Dave Taylor heads to New Jersey and a couple other runs. Peter Sundstrom heading to St. Louis. Signing wise, these are all AHL players, so I don't think there's going to be any huge ones. I'll still scroll through it in case you guys wanted to see it. Yeah, a lot of these guys are probably AHL players. Ken Baumgartner's not, though. He signs in LA, so he's one of the last one to sign. I think he was like a 74 overall as well. Darren Medeli signs in Pittsburgh. So a couple of players that actually did play in the 90s, but most of these guys are not. So yeah, a lot of enforcers signing actually in August. So a lot of the enforcers not getting contracts, which is kind of interesting. Okay, so now that that's done, let's advance to the start of the season. We'll actually also view our owner goals quickly. Our owner's not very happy at all with us, but at least we have no firing, so that's good, because we would have probably been fired by now. So let's take a look at our owner goals for the season so far. So we're still hopeful. Hopefully we could get to the playoffs this year, though. So, okay, I'm going to edit the lines, guys, and then I will see you guys in a second, and then we'll start simming the season. I think we will probably go up at least to the end of December in this episode, just because I want to at least give you guys a bit of simulation. So I'll see you guys in a second. Okay, guys, so here's our lineup for year number 3. So we got Greg Adams, Mike Modano, and Russ Courtnall +3 on this first line, so that's pretty good. Second line is a -1 overall, which is not good, but we might want to eventually trade away somebody like Dave Gagne, because Dave Gagne is, oh geez, okay, that line actually might be better. Yeah, let's try that actually instead. We'll put Klatt there, because that third line now has a +5 overall, which I have not had that often, so we'll see how that simulates. So Scott Pearson on the third line, and in fourth line is Gilchrist, Lundell, and Craig. So Lundell is up to an 81. He's listed as a checking forward. He's actually really good defensively, so I'm hoping he has a really good year on that fourth line, and then eventually he'll become our third liner, and then a second liner probably. Defensively, we have Hatcher and Zolapsky, Matvichuk and Cavallini, and Smolik and Ledyard. As for goaltending, it's kind of getting a bit weaker because Andy Moog is dropping off, and same with, well, Wackluck's kind of staying the same, but Andy Moog is dropping off a lot. This might be his last season in the NHL, which means we might have to eventually bring in somebody like Nabokov. As for our depth, we got Acton, Ludwig, and Stapleton, which is pretty nice. And then let me just actually check the goals in the AHL. Nabokov is listed as a minor starting goalie, so he'll be in the NHL by next season probably, or later this season if we decide to trade away a goalie. And then Thomas Vokoun is the backup there as well. So overall wise, I think we look pretty good for the season. I just hope that the chemistry kind of helps a bit, because Greg Adams, giving that first line a bit more of a boost, maybe these guys will start up to put up more points, because they've been kind of under-simulating a bit so far in this series. Okay, so let's get started with the season simulation. So we'll probably go up to, like I said, this I'd say January the 1st in this episode. It might be a bit of a longer one, like closer to 30 minutes, so I apologize in advance. So let's get this preseason done, see how we do in this preseason. Hopefully we could start winning games this year and actually make a chance for like a run in the playoffs. If not, then hopefully the draft class is pretty good. Multiple players on Dallas are eligible to be dressed. What do you mean? Who got injured? Nobody got injured. Come on, that's a stupid thing. I couldn't even put... well, I guess I could have put replaced player, but that was a weird kind of a glitch, I guess. So yeah, I guess it depends if our goaltending could hold up if we want to make the playoffs or not this year. If we're like around 500 at the trade deadline, maybe we want to trade away one of our goalies and upgrade in a goalie position just for the year. Just because I think that's probably our weak point right now. So let's go all the way to November the 1st, see how we are in this first month of the new season. Technically the 95-96 season, so technically Quebec should be a good team in this, because by now they would have been Colorado, but who knows if that's going to be the case or not, because they did trade away a lot of players last season. So we beat St. Louis for our first win of the season, game against Chicago, and Neil Broughton's already been injured. Not a good start to the season for our old captain in Neil Broughton. He's injured his knee, so he's out till October the 16th. So not too long term, but not a good way to start the season having that injury. So we're off to a bit of a rocky start, probably due to Andy Moog dropping off a bit. But like I said, if we have another bad year, it's okay to an extent. So Broughton is back after missing only, I think, one game. Yeah, only one game. Game against Edmonton is an OT loss, so no points there. Game against Buffalo, we beat them, and then we tie with New Jersey, so we're starting to get a bit more points now. There's another tie, 6-6 with Calgary. Damn, I hate ties, though, because, like, way back in the day, like, imagine watching a game that is tied at 6, and then it just ends in a tie. It doesn't even end, like, with a winner. It just seems like a lot of goals for no reason. So 4-4, 2-1 so far. Last 3 games of the month, we win 6-0 over Sweden. Game against LA. I wonder if Gretzky's dropping off or not. So the Whalers have fired their head coach, Jacques Bonnet. Bonnet. I don't know how it's pronounced in French, but whatever. Another tie there. So we're getting points. Even if it is ties, it's still nice. 6-4, 3-1. And we are actually first in our division currently. But probably not by much. Yeah, actually, the Red Wings are off to a bad start, which is kind of weird, because they didn't lose anybody significant, I don't think, in the offseason. Germany's doing better than they are currently. The Blackhawks are. The Jets are in second. It looks like some of the European teams are doing better this year, to start off with. New Jersey's off to a really hot start, though, 8-3-2. Penguins are 9-3-0. The Moose are 9-4-1. Wow. Okay. And Mike Modano's off to a really hot start, so that top line is producing good. 21 points in 14 games for Mike Modano. That's 7 points over point per game. So he's averaging around, I don't know how much points per game, like 1.5 points per game. Okay, let's go another month. We're going to look at the stats at the end of December, and then pretty much wrap that up at the end. So, and then I'll probably also show you guys the trading block and stuff like that as well, just in case we want to make some trades this season or not. Because right now we're off to a really good start, but I don't know if this team's going to keep it up all year. Because since we're listed as hopeful, I find assimilation tends to put it in your favor for a bit, but then they eventually give you a really bad losing streak. So, holy, our division's tight as hell now. 16 points is one of the last teams in our division, and the leader has 20 points. Only a 4-point separation? That's ridiculous. That's like as tight as the Metropolitan Division in real life. So we're running up on 25 minutes already, so I might not sim too much more. Yeah, I'm probably going to go one more month after this and then kind of wrap up the episode that way. But, I mean, we're getting wins this season so far, which is good. But, yeah, it's not the greatest record when you look on it on paper. And Darcy Wakaluk has been injured. Oh my god, he's been injured till February the 16th. That's a long injury. I don't even know if he was the one that was playing good or not, but Evgeny Nabokov is going to have to come up for a majority of the season. At least that gives Volkun a chance to be the starter down there in Texas, but my god, not the type of injury we want at this point in time. How has Moog played? Moog is really bad. It's mostly been Wakaluk that's been giving us the wins. Shit. Of course, our good goalie has to go down with an injury. Yeah, Wakaluk's been really good. It's just Moog isn't. So we have to hopefully rely on Nabokov to get us to a playoff spot maybe this year. He has been really good down there in the AHL again. Come on, Nabokov, you could do this, buddy. I know it sucks that we lost Wakaluk, but we're gonna have to have our goalies step up like a lot, because literally we're out without him for like 3 months. Yeah, I think we're without him for like 3 months, so that's a really long-term injury to have for a goaltender. So we might want to end up trading for a goaltender, because I don't really feel safe playing Nabokov for the most of the season. So 12-9-5 at December the 1st. Should I go another month? No, I'm not going to go another month already. I'm going to end the episode pretty much around here, because I don't want this episode to be like 35 minutes long. So Mike Medano is over point per game, and we're currently first in our division only by 2 points. Only 10 points separate us in the last spot in our division. Let's take a look at those player stats, and then we will take a look at the trading block and stuff already. It might be a bit early to look at that sort of stuff, but I don't really want this season to take 3 episodes, so I'll probably do that anyways. So Mike Medano, 35 points, and he's a plus 17, so top line's been producing. Evason's got only 15 points. Broughton only 15 points. He's probably dropping. Lundell, 11 points in his first 27 NHL games. Only a -3, so that fourth line's been pretty good defensively. Gilchrist, 10 points, and Acton has no points in 1 game. Left wing-wise, Greg Adams, 25 points in 27 games. Nice. Plus 14 as well. Gagne, 23 points. Klatt, 17. Pearson, only 5 points, but he is a plus 2. Right wing-wise, Courtnall's got 28 points in 27 games. Young's got 13. Craig has got 4. As for defense, Zalapski's got 10. Ledyard's got 9. Cavallini's only got 6. Maffichuk's got 6. Hatcher's got 5. And Zmolik's got 4. So I don't really like how our defense doesn't seem to put up a lot of points. So, I mean, if we wanted to upgrade our defense, maybe we want to find somebody that's more offensively minded, because at the moment that defense is not just plain defense. That's all they're doing. They're not scoring or helping out with the offense at all. And then goaltending wise, Nabokov is actually off to a fantastic start. His first game that he played this year, he gets a shutout. So that's actually really good. But yeah, I don't know if his numbers are going to continue like that for sure. And then also Andy Moog, like I said, he's not having a good season. He is getting really old, and he's probably going to drop off throughout the season. So we might want to look for a new goaltender while Wakaluk is out with an injury. And then that way I could send the Bakov down for the rest of the season so far. Okay, let's take a look at the trading block quickly, and then I think that'll be it for this episode, just because it's already at like 29 minutes or so. I do actually have to make a few cuts in it, but it is probably running long. I'll actually show you guys the draft class as well already. So, trading block, let's see if there's anybody out there for goaltenders. Jim Hrivnik is not really what I want. He's more of a backup goaltender. I'm looking for more of a starter, but there's not a lot of good goalies out there on the block probably, because most teams don't have good goaltending combinations. Yeah, it's mostly forwards and defensemen at this stage. Yeah, that was another goalie. Rob Stauber, though, but he's not that good. Like, I don't want to just pick up any goalie. I would rather pick up a good starter for 1 year. Like, if we wanted to go after a good defenseman, Malikov isn't that bad. Like, he's signed for 5 years, but he's a pretty good offensive. Well, actually, never mind. I thought he would simulate a lot better offensively, but he's off to a slow start this year. What else do we got here? Any goaltenders, please? Doesn't seem like there'd be any goalies on the block, really. Frank Pietrangelo is not that good. Damn, yeah, there doesn't look to be any good goalies. Ron Tugnutt. Okay, that's one that actually we could bring in. Ron Tugnutt did play with the Stars as well, but in like 2003, I'd like to say. Or maybe not 2003, but it was after Columbus, I think, or before Columbus. He hasn't played that much in the NHL this year, but he is pretty good. So yeah, maybe we want to trade for Ron Tugnutt, bring him to Dallas, so that way we have another goalie option for this year. And then we could send the block off to the minors. And then when Wackluck returns, actually we could try and trade away Andy Moog, maybe. And then bring in Ron Tugnutt. And then, yeah, that looks like pretty much it. Yep, that's all there is for goalies on the block. So we're probably going to go after Ron Tugnutt next episode. But I'm not 100% sure with that. Let's take a quick look at the draft class. Even though we probably don't know much already, but there is a franchise player first overall this year. So if we have a bad year, which I might want to do, maybe we could get a franchise playmaker in Raphael Foote. He's similar to Wayne Gretzky, and he's a left winger. That's kind of interesting. Yeah, maybe we want to go after this guy. There's also Stan Rollins, who's a power forward, so that's pretty good. There is a defensive defenseman, it looks like, in Capaduca. There's also Osgood. But we are needing more offensively minded defensemen, so that's probably something we're going to look for at the draft. So, yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think? Should we be making a trade in next episode, or should we just leave our goaltending situation the way it is, and then maybe we don't make the playoffs or something and we get Foote instead? I don't know, because I feel like Nabokov isn't going to simulate that well for the whole season so far. So let me know what you guys think down below for next episode, and I will see you guys next time.